Welcome back to Rusty G. Today we're going to be fixing a patch hole in the Wrangler panel. And now I was doing some plug welds on where they just screwed in some for the fenders. So I figured I'd plug weld that all up, sand it, and make it look a lot better. But yesterday when I was doing this particular one, I noticed a lot of smoke and then it started burning and getting soft. And I said, oh, let me investigate. And sure enough, all this was filled with Bondo. I cut a little bit away already just to see how bad it was, but most of this was filled with Bondo, and then they seam sealed it from underneath and molded it to look like the fender. And then so what I did was I sanded all the way from this area and got to find out where the Bondo was. I did my tape lines. Now this happens to be 6 inches. So it's perfect 6 inches across, and then I use a square to do a straight line just because it's going to be easier working with a square piece of metal right here when I cut it out because I don't have a press. Now I always reference Fritz's channel, I think it's Fabricating by Fritz or something like that, just because when I first saw this I was a little bit stressed out because there's 2 layers of metals and everything, but he always says to do one thing at a time. So my first thing is to cut this out and see what's underneath it, and then I'll work on the underneath first, and then I'm going to work on the top second. Now my idea is to do a panel underneath and then either cut one panel, or sometimes, like he said, it's easier to cut 2. So what I'm saying about 2 panels is I might cut the first panel to go halfway down right here, and then cut a small patch piece down there and then tack those together. So first step is for me to cut this part, see how bad it is underneath, and then I'll come back and I'll show you. But key to fixing this stuff is not freaking out and just going step by step. Okay, let's do this. Okay, I did a lot of cutting already and some fab work on it. I try to keep everything kind of even when I cut out, so this is going to be a little bit harder, but I'll talk about that in a second. This is the factory foam that they put in between this panel and this panel. You can see the rust is getting farther and the water just gets trapped, and that's why you get these big rot holes here. Now, I took out most of this foam from around the edges so when I weld, it doesn't dirty up the welds, but I'll try to clean it up a little bit more. I'm working on this piece right now. I took just some sheet metal. I used a vise and a 2x4 and I put the bend into it. It's not the perfect bend. And then I put another bend here, and I'll talk about that in 1 second, but you could barely see it, but there's a slight bend in there. And then I cut this little arch for the archway out. So next thing I need to do is start cutting this piece out and welding this together. But because I put that little bend in there, I'm hoping later on when it's welded together, I could take a dolly and start hammering it out and put a little bit of a bend in there. But to be honest with you, no one's gonna see it, and I'll still have something to put the new welds, some spot welds on the sheet metal, just like the factory did. I'm not gonna put any foam in here. That's nuts. I'm just gonna spray the shit out of it with some rust preventer, and then this piece I'm gonna make. Now, I recommend getting one of these tools. I got it on Amazon a couple bucks, but it takes the curve, it like takes the shape of what I'm working on. I use it on the tailgate. I'm gonna use it on this. I'll take a piece of metal, and what I'm gonna try to do is, this is gonna be way rounded, more than I can get out of the 2x4, so I'm gonna try to find something a little bit rounder and just roll that steel over and then start cutting. I'll scribe it this way and scribe it, and then start trying to cut, get the shape a little bit better. So I'm gonna start working on that piece. I'm not welding this in until I get the next piece done, and then I'll weld it all together in conjunction, because I gotta make sure that this is not interfering with this right here. So that's gonna take me a little bit. I'll be back, but as you can see, as long as you take it in pieces, I'm not freaking out. I mean, I cut this piece first, now I'm gonna cut this piece. I made this piece, I'll fit this piece, and then I'll fit the next piece, and then I'll weld them together. So it's not the end of the world, but it's gonna be a lot better than just putting, 2 pounds of body filler on here and gonna crack over time. Okay, I'll see you in a little bit. you always run into a little bit of problem. This is the piece I don't want to cut out right here, because that's has it been this way and then upward. I just rather not cut that out. When I got all the metal cut out, you could see right there they did a spot weld, and it looks like this might be welded. There's not too much metal right there, so I'm going to clean this up before I start cutting anything else out, sand that down, and if I need to do a couple little quick hits with the TIG, I might do that, because I'd rather see if I have to replace this before I start cutting everything, putting all the other panels in. So let me do that. Sorry that I don't have a tripod, it's just so tight fitting in here that there's no way I could set something up. Sanded that down, and the weld actually went through, so I think I'm just gonna put a couple quick tacks on there before I start putting my piece in. Let me show you the piece. It's hard to do one-handed, but all it was, that metal I bent on the 2x4. This is a little bit sharper round. I hammered it down a little bit, and I put a little bit of a bend into it right here, and then I cut this out. Let's see if I can. All right, it's amazing what I can do with two hands. That doesn't sound right, but okay. As you can see, it fits in. I'll get some of that curve, not all of it, but it's going to be underneath the quarter panel, but from underneath, when it's painted, you won't even be able to tell because there's enough of the curve. So I'm gonna go do my little tacks and weld this all in, and I'll be back. And then I already have this piece pretty much where I want it to be. Now I just gotta scribe it or decide to cut, do something differently. Maybe I really am thinking about just cutting it across and then making this piece separately. But we'll decide that after I get this part done. Okay, here we go. That's all welded in. I had to stop grinding because it's touching these edges over here, and that's just gonna make my life harder when I do the other stuff. So, but it's in, it's ground. It's not perfect, but you can see the shape's there, flattened out here, but I don't want to bang it and crack the welds or anything. But it's not, like I said, perfect, but you know, not too bad. Again, no one's ever gonna see it. So edge primered, and then did my normal rust preventer. I got this piece ready to go. Let me see if I can put this in here. I just want to show you something before I start welding it. Okay, and here's a panel in. As you can see, it's not perfect, but it should be close enough where I can get in. And I also want to give myself a little bit of room, because right here is flush, right here is flush, right here is flush, but right back here, if you could see where that is, I've tried to hammer it straight, but because of the foam underneath and that stuff, I can't get it all out. It's pushing the metal up. So what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna put a couple of welds on this side and on that side, one in the corner, and then I'll use a hammer, push that metal, the back panel metal down to even up, because I've tried it and it does even out, and then hit a spot weld and hit a spot weld. But what I do for these corners is I actually start welding on the top, and then I'll bang it down while I get around the corner. So I work my way down to make that shape, because you're never gonna get it perfect, but see how level it is right there? But I figure this side is the only side I can get my hands on. This side is blocked. So as I'm welding, I'm just gonna left my little bit of space. I got a little bit of a pick tool right here. I can come in there, push it out if I need to finish the weld. So let me do a couple tacks and I'll keep on going. Okay, I got my first couple of tacks in here. Let me get my finger here. This is level, this corner's level, here's level, here's level, here's level. Normally now I would come down and keep on going, but I'm going to change the plan a little bit. I'll come down and go, because of the shape of this and how it's coming in. I had to put a little bit of a relief cut right there, so it's going to fit in there. But if I push this down, it's going off. So my next step is I'm going to actually weld this down right there. If I push this down and weld that, that's level. And then I'm gonna have to push this up a little bit. which is a flat fender, so I don't understand that. I have to push this up a little bit and then push it in, and then I get my raise right there. And then I'll start banging this in, and then I'll be back. So I'm gonna do that weld here, push this up and weld up here, so that way I got a weld here and maybe another weld, then tap this in, and then all I have left is gonna be down here, put maybe a tack here. That way I can see the shape and everything before I start really welding this together. Okay, I got these spot welds done. But when I'm running into a problem is right here. See how this curves? If you look, that is where that weld was I was talking about. It's kind of bent out of shape. It's twisted. So I'm gonna use my little pick here, and all I'm gonna do is bring this piece back out, weld it right before the pick, and then I'll try to either pick on the other side of that spot weld I had there, and then after that, I can actually start hammering this out and using maybe a little bit of pair of pliers and pull it out and get that shape back in. It's basically, right now it's twisted inward. So I'm trying to flatten it down and twist it back out. So I'm just walking it over from both sides, and it's working out. Let me finish this and I'll come back. Okay, all my spot welds are done. So I'm gonna hammer that down a little bit right there. I don't have to, right there. There, no, look there a little bit, right there. So I gotta hammer that down or bring this up a little bit. You can see right here, all that is taken care of, the shape's in. So now all I gotta do is all the welding and then grinding. No blow through here, and I reshaped it. When I'm done with this, I'm probably gonna do a little bit more reshaping here, just a little bit, but that's not horrible, man. I'm telling you, not horrible at all. No specialty tools, just dolly, a vise, and a welder, and bam. I'm really, really happy with that, man. Let me keep on going. Okay, as you can see, it's all welded up. It's not the prettiest weld, but I had to do like a gap in that spot right there, and I had a little blowout here, and right up there was a little bit bigger hole, but you can see it's penetrated through, so I'm not really worried about that. I'm gonna grind this down. Now I don't have a stone to do this. What I use is 40 disc paper. I mean, it works. It takes a little bit longer, but I buy these things on Amazon for like, I think that I was on sale for 10 for less than 15. So they're like $1 something a piece. Yeah, about that. I gotta double check that. Disregard that. But they're pretty cheap on Amazon. On a stone, I use a stone, but I found that something too abrasive cuts into the metal, especially this thinner metal. So with the sandpaper, I just find that I do a little bit better, and I don't cut into the metal as much. So on the frame, I use a stone and a diamond disc, but on the body, I've been using sandpaper. It's been working out pretty good. I'll sand it down. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, I am back. It's all ground up. The shape came out pretty good. This came in pretty, I like this. This is really good. This edge is really good, except I'm gonna show you in a second. I'm gonna talk about this, and I'm gonna talk about this in 2 seconds. And this is helpful advice. Learn it from me. Okay, I do have 2 low spots. Right there, you see it? And there's a pan underneath there. Now this is not what I replaced. This is after what I replaced. I should have cut up here, but this is what I replaced. So that will get some fiberglass, but there's a low spot there and I can't bang it out from underneath. And then there's a low spot right there and I can't bang that from underneath. But all this, right there, you'll see my finger go down. Right there, that's the low spot. So I can't bang it out. I don't know if it shrunk when I welded, but right in this area is a low spot. I don't know what to do about that, but I can't bang it out. But the nice thing is the edge is there. I mean, I'm not foos here. I'm not gonna have perfect, but I'm really happy. All of this came out really good. I'm happy. Now I'm gonna talk about this and this. Okay, right here. This was looking like this, and I went back to basically hit it, hit all the welds. I blew this out, and it blew, and then I found rust right here, and I blew that out. So I had to kind of do like a whole weld thing, little holes here, and it's flat, but it looked like this. And now it looks like this because I was chasing waterfalls. Same thing with this, right here. This is flat. Now I can put some more welds and keep on grinding, but don't chase waterfalls. If you're gonna put filler over fiber, I'm gonna put fiber. When I say filler, I mean fiberglass. Well, if you're gonna use fiberglass over this, don't go after everything, because you're gonna grind the shit out of stuff, and then you're gonna hit something, and then you start blowing shit out, and it's, this looked a lot better until I went and tried to make it look even better. When I knew I was gonna put fiberglass over it, I should have just left it alone, and I would save myself an hour's worth of work. Something else I did find though, when I did this patch right here, I went back until I saw paint, and there's a little Bondo, but I thought it was pretty safe. You see this right here? All the way here? That's Bondo. But you see this stuff right here? He didn't even take the paint off. He left the paint on, then he put Bondo, and then he put fiberglass. So I thought it was done with bodywork, but it looks like I'm gonna be stripping this panel down to see if there's just holes, because I don't really care at this point, because I'm already kind of, do you see all those? That's where the flare get welded. This is not going to get any flares on. What I'm going to do is cut. Let me move this over. I'm going to cut here and all the way across the grill, and basically make this look like the old Jeep fender. Kind of, it won't flare out, but this whole Jeep's gonna be flat. I'm gonna get the spacers off, and so that's not gonna happen in the next few episodes, but the quarter panels are gonna come, the front fenders are gonna come off. I'm gonna cut them, and then I'm gonna bend it so it's not just a sharp edge, and I'm gonna make these look pretty much like what you buy those flat fenders, but I'll just make these, and this is making me feel better about it, because since these are kind of wavy and that much filler in it, it's not the end of the world. I think pretty much bodywork's done except for what I just found here. But so now I get to start seam sealing the inside of the Jeep and things like that will be next. And then getting ready to do the Raptor coating. Okay, I'll talk to you later. Have a great day. Thanks for watching.